All right, guys, so today we're going to talk about headaches. So a headache can be something from just an irritation that keeps happening daily, weekly, or a couple of times a month. That's kind of an annoying nuisance in the background, to a full-blown debilitating migraine or cluster headache, or even something, I'll talk about a patient of mine that had something called suicide headaches. That's literally the clinical name for them. So headaches in general are many times are caused from a cervical misalignment or issue in the joints, muscles, and nerve system, or blood supply even in the cervical spine. So I've been a corrective chiropractor now for 15 years. I've personally helped over 12,000 people in our clinic over that time, and we regularly see people every day with headaches and migraines. I have very rarely ever, out of thousands of people that have headaches or migraines, found someone that through corrective specific chiropractic care, we have not been able to reduce their headaches and migraines by at least 80% or more, and many of them, they just completely go away. And there's been some severe cases I give some examples of. So, but to understand more, you really need to understand just the anatomy of a normal spine. So when you look sideways at someone's neck, we have a normal relaxed arch and C shape. It's there for two reasons. One, in that normal position, the head weighs about 14 pounds, so it's like a bowling ball. If that starts to go forward in this position, or we get this position, or we get this position, then that creates a chronic muscle imbalance, and the muscles alone can create tension and spastic compression of the nerves or the blood supply and cause headaches that radiate through the muscles, through the back of the head, through the eye, to the side of the head. So there's that component. But more seriously, there's a neurologic component, and there's even a vascular component. So research actually shows as you go forward with that cervical spine, the arteries and blood supply, that red line runs straight through there and feeds into the brain. Now, when you go in that straightened position, research shows that that forward head straightened cervical curve, you're literally walking around every day with up to a 35% less blood flow and circulation to your brain. So yes, that can definitely cause headaches and migraines, but it also causes a slew of other things as you age. Imagine if you lost 35% of the oxygen to your brain throughout a lifetime, it increases risk for things like brain fog, or even things like Alzheimer's, memory loss, dementia, problems with even dizziness or vertigo or seizures. There's a number of things that could happen over time. Today we're just talking about headaches and migraines, but it's important just from a normal health perspective to have the full blood supply and oxygen going to your brain. I'm sure you'd agree. Now, there's also inside, if you look here, this is that same picture, a normal healthy x-ray. The brain is right here, the brain stem is inside, and the spinal cord is here. This is a cross section. If you chop this and look down the tunnel, that's the normal thickness of the hose of the spinal cord, if it's like a hose carrying information. As that spinal cord goes forward, research also shows that it creates a stretching of the spinal cord. That stretching creates a narrowing against that hose, and the brainstem can be compressed and irritated. The spinal cord becomes compressed and irritated, and that neurologic agitation between your brainstem, spinal cord, and brain, back and forth, can cause massive headaches and migraines as well. So many people are told your headaches and migraines are hormonal, or there's a food sensitivity, and those things can be things that are agitators or triggers. But regardless of whether you think they've been hormonal, or you've had them your whole life, or they're from an injury, or even a concussion, the results we get are pretty much the same across the board with any type of headache. So we'd love to talk to you. If you're someone that's suffering with headaches, we can almost always reduce them and eliminate them over time. So I'm thinking of a story of a patient of mine that came in, and imagine if from the day I met this guy when he was 27 years old, but from the day he was 7 years old, he had something called a suicide headache. So he had the most severe, debilitating, 10 out of 10, constant, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week headache from the time he was 7 years old until I met him at 29 years old. He told me that the best day of his life he remembers, I think he said it was around he was 10 years old or something, that day, it was only a 4 out of 10. And he still remembers, and he tells me that was the best day of his life, and he started crying. And he said, "Do you think you can help me? Everyone says you can help with these things, but I think I'm different." So I told him, look, the only way we'll know is, examine if there's an issue in your cervical spine. I'm a corrective chiropractor. That's what we do. We help make the spine, nerve system, and blood supply in the cervical spine healthier. If you have it, there's a good chance we can help. If you don't, I can't make you better than normal. So let's give it a shot. So we ended up adjusting him, and we found massive subluxation, completely folded over backwards on top of his cervical spine that had been there for many, many years. And from his first adjustment, So this gentleman was also a Division I football player, 6'7" and about 340 pounds. Came in the office, picked me up, gave me a giant bear hug, and told me that for the first time since that day he told me it was the best day of his life, his headache was a 5, and by 6 weeks in, the worst it had ever got was a 1. So even the most severe cases, or even just a simple daily annoying headache that just makes your day not so enjoyable, you don't have to live like that. You deserve to live a life without limitations and be there playing with your kids and going about your activities and going to the gym and having fun on the weekends and going about your job without having this nuisance of a headache in the back of your neck. So if you're having like that, please check out the link, make an appointment. We'd love to talk to you about just what maybe some other options might be and maybe a better way to deal with it.